One important feature that is missing in the package we are writing is the ability to navigate the prompt history. It might be great if in the prompt buffer we could just press meta-p or meta-n to insert previous prompts that we sent to OpenAI. In the next 3 lessons, we are going to implement that feature, and in this lesson precisely, we are going to talk about the timestamp files. In order to navigate the prompt history, we need to be able to list the previous prompts that we've sent to OpenAI in the chronological order. To do that, we are going to use timestamp files that we are going to describe in a moment, but before doing that, let's explain why we ended up with that solution. So if we look at that request directory that had a request.json file and a response.json file, this is the case where everything goes well. So in the response file, we see that we have a created field with already a timestamp. Maybe we could use this one to sort the request and solve the prompt. The problem with that is that we are going to read too many files if we have hundreds or thousands of files in our request directory just to sort them. So this is not a good solution. Now, another problem with this is what we can see at the bottom. When we get an error, so we don't even have the response.json file, we don't even are able to have that created field and so to list also and order that prompt. So this is really not a solution. Now let's see what we can do. So we are going to the same time we write the request in the request directory, we are going to write that timestamp file like this one, where we have first part the request directory, then timestamp dash, and at the end the timestamp. In this section, we're going to modify the function ChatGPT send request such that each time we send a request to OpenAI, we are going to write a timestamp file as described previously alongside the request files. So let's do that. We add a variable timestamp path, and we want it to be the path to the timestamp file. So we use the function format. %s will be replaced by request directory. We want timestamp, a dash. %s will be replaced by a timestamp. And now we want a rec_dir variable, and we use the function time to seconds, which returns the float number of seconds since epoch. So we can check that by evaluating only that expression, and we see in the echo area such a number. So now we have that timestamp path, and we are going to write the file. So we copy that line which previously write the request, and we want to write nothing, so the empty string, and we want to write the timestamp path. So this is what we want to do. So we evaluate the whole expression, which redefines ChatGPT send the request. Now we call ChatGPT command, we pass the prompt foo, we press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+C, which sends the request, and we hope. Now we go in that buffer, and we see we have that link to the request directory. Ctrl+C, Ctrl+O to jump to that directory, and we see now we have a timestamp file as specified in the previous section. Now we are going to write the function ChatGPT timestamp, which takes a timestamp file as argument and return the timestamp number associated with that file. Let's see how to do that with the following example, where we bind the variable file to a timestamp file, and the first thing we are going to do is to split that string at the separation timestamp dash. So we can use the function string split. We pass it the file, and the separation is timestamp like that. We evaluate that expression, and we see in the echo area that this returns a list with the first element being the request directory and the second the timestamp as a string. So now let's just keep the second element. This one, we evaluate that expression, we've kept the timestamp as a string, and now we want it as a number. So we can do that with the function string to number, and we evaluate that expression, and now we get from that timestamp file the timestamp number. So let's copy this, and now we are going to define the function that we want. So GPT timestamp, which takes an argument which is a file. We leave 3 dots for the docstring. We passed that expression, and we evaluate the whole expression which define ChatGPT timestamp, and we will check if it works correctly by commenting in the example. And now we are going to call ChatGPT timestamp on the file, and we evaluate that expression, and we see in the echo area that this returns the timestamp number. Finally, we are going to write the function chatgpt-requests, which returns a sorted list of the requests in ChatGPT directory, such that the most recent requests are listed first. So the first thing we are going to do is to list the timestamp files. So we can do that with the function directory file recursively. We want to search in ChatGPT directory, and we want the files that match that regular expression, timestamp dot star. We evaluate that expression, and we see in the echo area that we've listed 3 timestamp files in ChatGPT directory. Now we are going to sort them. So we use a let, we bind files to the timestamp files, and now we are going to use the function sec sort to sort them. That takes 2 arguments. So the first one in the predicate, and the second one will be files, the sequence. So lambda f1 for the first file, the second file f2, and as we want the most recent request to be listed first, we want the timestamp of f1 to be superior of the timestamp of f2. So we write that like that: ChatGPT timestamp of f1, we want it to be greater than f2. Now we add the last argument, which is files. Let's evaluate that expression, and now we can see, looking at the timestamp, that they are sorted like we want. The most recent request listed first. Last thing that we want to do, because we don't want the timestamp file, but we want the request directory. So we are going to do that like that. We can use the function map car, which takes lambda, and now we pass it a file f, and what do we want? We don't want the part with timestamp, so we are going to use the function string trim right, this one, and we pass the files and this regular expression. So now if we evaluate that expression, we get those request directory listed in the echo area. They are sorted looking at their timestamp files, so this is all good. And now we are going to copy all of this and to paste it in a ChatGPT request body. Now we evaluate that whole expression which defines ChatGPT request, and we are going to call that function ChatGPT request, this one. So we evaluate, and we see in the echo area that we have the request directory listed with the most recent request listed first. In this lesson, we introduced the timestamp files. We use them to list the requests in ChatGPT directory such that the most recent requests are listed first. In the next lesson, we will learn about the ring package.